Okay. Gerard, where you sitting here? Where you gonna be right there, Devin? You gonna be here?
I can get another
How you
chair.
doing it? No, we don't need another chair. Okay, yeah. So you'll be here. You can slide over so then Devin can get there, I guess.
Come
I
on,
want
Kevin.
Devin in the hot seat. No, my man in the hot seat right here. So yeah, no. He just.
He ain't ready
It's,
for this one yet.
but slide it over because I don't want you. Right. Yep. That's how my man did, right? And then last time he came and took over. So right here, young man, this little teenager here. So let me because we were talking before we actually push play, and I'm excited to hear these men share, right? And we're talking about how did you say it? You like I want to really keep the focus on me, right?
Yes.
And so we're talking about the men. So ladies, when you have questions and all of that stuff, they'll try to answer it to the best of their ability. But today the focus, the men want to just really focus on them. So welcome everyone to the Stories of Heroes. I am your, yep. I am your host, Lashana Alfred. And listen, because this is about the men, I am in the studio, but I want the men to just kind of, have a discussion. I kind of guide from a therapeutic standpoint because, again, we know how men get together. Hey, we know how men get together and they can all agree, right? So from a therapeutic standpoint, I got to come in and shake it up a little bit. But if you have questions, we would definitely be answering some of the questions to the best of their ability. But without further ado, I know I'm going to pass this mic to Dave, and then
We need another chair. We can put
you
no,
know,
no,
right
no
here.
floor seat.
Yeah,
I got
we
more
right
chairs
here.
like this.
Here you go, sir. Look, you always wanted me to serve you. Here you go.
Hey, Anthony, how you doing?
How's it going?
Everything we didn't know, man. We didn't know.
How you doing, man?
Welcome
back, bro. I miss you,
You want to close it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Dang, man. Thought you was stop productivity.
I can't believe every single time, man, somebody would book me with something, man, I couldn't even do it.
Yeah,
the
that's
brother
all right.
United have you paint something for me.
That's all right. That's all right.
What happened in Black History Month,
Life
bro?
of an entrepreneur.
Effortless, it said.
All right,
So we on?
Well, we've been on, but here's the thing, right? Now, y'all already know.
Go ahead, man.
And piece of whatever you want. So again, the platform really was created to for men to be able to have a place where they feel comfortable talking, right? And I know that can be kind of like an oxymoron, right? Because we got the social media rolling, right? We on YouTube, Facebook, and so. But I want you to really just kind of be open, because it's a man and women that's watching. That's kind of it's a man that's going through and don't feel safe to share, how he's feeling. It's a woman that's wondering what's going on with her man. So I really want us to just kind of share from your perspective. So we do have a couple new people here. And we started off, I put the title as Do Men Cry, I think, when men cry. But Gerard, what did you say?
Do men struggle too?
Do men struggle too?
You see how it's a trap? We said, do men struggle too? And she said, do men cry? You gotta watch the traps, man.
But I really would like, what's your name again?
Colin.
Colin. I really would like Colin to kind of share. So what we do is, when they come into the studio, I ask them what are some of the things that they've been going through, some of the things that they've been kind of, struggling with. And Colin began to kind of talk, and I want you to just kind of share what you started off saying.
For me right now is my mindset is focused on me and my relationship with God. When stuff happen in your life, you get down for a little bit, become withdrawn, but then you got to start analyzing what happened, how it happened, what led to that. And then I've been trying to watch a lot of videos. I play my gospel music in the morning to work out to it, but just self-reflecting and trying to figure out where I'm at right now and where I'm heading. And accountability for the most part, taking responsibility for my actions, where I'm at in life, and where I want to go. And I mean, in my quiet moments, I just try to create a plan, basically, for where I want to be and how I'm getting there. And I guess how can I be of some sort of impact to the people around me? So self, yeah, but just do it in a certain way where I can be helping other people too.
Always. How long have you been like on that journey? I should say.
I mean, it's been going on for a while, but right now it's like the main focus as far as me focusing on myself
Mm.
and where I want to go. But I mean, I think that's always kind of a journey you have within yourself. But life happens. You have family, job, businesses, so stuff happens that kind of take away your attention. But you just gotta get back. Just I guess just getting back to self, because if you're not filling yourself up, if you're not pouring into yourself, if you're not strong, if you're not full, if you're not happy, if you're not energized, like there's very little you can pour into the things and people around you. So for me right now, the focus is just pouring back into myself mentally, physically, emotionally, and getting closer with God. Accepting the fact that there's not much I can do without Him. As far as I might stray away from Him, you always find yourself back. And for me personally, um, every time that I found myself not close to God is when my life has been the most chaotic. And that's just me. I mean, I was raised in church, raised in Christianity. So, but for me personally, that every time that I found myself distancing, and for a long time too, things become very chaotic, and God kind of takes these moments where He gives me these little nudges, and then I ignore them, and then you get a big wake up call, and then it's like bam.
Yeah.
So it's taking accountability for that, which is getting closer with God. So when He speaks, I don't have to. He doesn't have to speak to me 5, 6 times before I move. So if I'm closer with Him, I can hear Him. I can let Him guide me. I can let Him lead me, and then I can get the wisdom and understanding I need to handle the challenges of life. Because I don't think any of us have it all figured out. You know what I mean?
Definitely. No, it's crazy that you bring that up, because last week I was the topic of conversation for how much self-care and self-love that I do. So it definitely feel like, oh, dang, other people in life, other men are doing the same things, pouring back into themselves. And I definitely feel you on the confusion part when you not listening to God, and things for me become very cloudy.
Yes.
Like, I didn't even know that Wednesday started Lent. Like, there's this past Wednesday. But the day before, I'm not even a sweets person. I had a cupcake. And it was a red velvet cupcake. And somebody was like, I don't even know you eat sweets. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to do it today. That was God telling me to do it, because after that, I was getting ready to start fasting or letting go or whatever I would decide to do. And I still haven't really decided what I was going to do for Lent. But I'm kind of just open and available to what He wants me to do and move forward accordingly. And one thing my pastor always say is he listens to the Bible via audio, where he would just play it, and throughout the day he may listen to the Bible. I think what do you say, Sam, like 8 times or something like that. And he say, yeah, just constantly playing, like that's his radio, that's whatever. And so he just gets familiar with God's voice the more that he does that. And I tried that when I was fasting to start the year off, and dude, it's just so surreal how you start to hear God's voice more and more, where you was like doubting it or not even like tying a connection, like, oh, I thought that was me, but that was you the whole time, God. So.
And what I would say is, because we when we listen to music, whatever we listen to, you'll find yourself at some moments repeating what you heard. It could be whatever music you was listening to yesterday. It could be whatever, some movie you watch. Those thoughts kind of find themselves back to you. So when you go back to listening to the Bible, and those words come back to your own quiet thoughts or your own quiet moments, it kind of makes more sense to you. Like, okay, now I get what this really means. So that's kind of a really good focus on as far as like what I was saying earlier, pouring back into yourself. We listen to all kind of music, whatever. You got to find a way or find a time in your day where you're actually pouring back into yourself the right way.
Yeah, 'cause that's what I want. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, when it comes to crying, like, you know, the expression that people say, you know, men ain't supposed to cry. That goes back to what I said the last time we was on here when I said people taught their kids not to cry because they ain't had the capacity to deal with the trauma that they were going through. They didn't know what to say to them other than I provide you for you to do my best. I have no way of helping you other than maybe leaning on God. You know what I'm saying? So, me personally, I've been through enough trauma and different things to make me so I was strong so much that I like subconsciously broke down. So I would cry in my sleep. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just went through a lot of stuff, and I had to be strong for my family, all these different people, and my body was just like, let it out. So at this point, I cry in front of anybody. I don't care who it is, what the situation. You know, if I feel like I gotta let it out, I let it out. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the movies, I'm listening to a certain song. You know what I'm saying? And it's like some people be looking like he really like express himself. Like, yeah, you can only be strong so much. You can only try to be tough. Like the world, you know, the toughest thing that I consider is being real, being your authentic self. So when my mind or spirit feels like letting out tears, I do it. You know what I'm saying? In any situation. So that's just me. And you know, a lot of things do make me cry, but the things that make people cry typically don't make me cry. You know, like a song, a movie, or somebody going through something where they struggle, feeling alone, things that hurt me in the inside. I can't control it. I'm just gonna cry. You know what I'm saying? So you might even see me crying here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have no, I like, as tough as a human being can get is who I am. You know what I'm saying? But that ain't being tough. That's like not knowing when to be weak. That's what that is to me.
How make you feel afterwards? Like, let me go.
I hate crying, but like, it gives me a headache. I don't know why. Every time I cry, I have a headache afterwards, but I know I need to do it. You know what I'm saying? It don't make me feel better, but I just know I need to do it. It might be a spirit or soul type thing where it makes me better, but the physical don't be like, nah.
I got a question. Man, when did you realize in your pursuit of your goal that you was off track? What happened that you said some things to yourself and you had some goals in place? When did you realize that you were really off track?
If I'm hearing it correctly, I'll say when my goals was only going to affect me.
Okay.
So I knew that it was doing it for like personal gain, to be more flashier, to have more things that I felt like I needed to be a man or whatever like that. Then when I realigned myself, I was like, no, I want to create generational wealth. I want to be able to have money so my grandkids don't got to worry about some things. Or that, I forget the guy name, I think it was at Howard, he paid for that whole graduating class. You know, I was like, I want to be in position to do things like that. So I think when my goals stopped only affecting me in my current situation and went out, and it became longevity of, let me retire my parents, let me set things up for the later end versus the right now of how I look or feel. So
Follow up on that, on you, Colin, and you, Dave. One of the things that I've heard that I don't know if it's we as men or we as people, really don't make the change until crisis comes. Is it the crisis that captures your attention? Can we not do it without the crisis? Or do you think the crisis is necessary to kick us that we get started?
I wouldn't say the crisis is absolutely necessary, but what it does is open your eyes to what you're doing. You can only do it for so long without something going wrong. So the crisis kind of like, hey, you're supposed to be going this way. So Yeah, the crisis kind of opens your eyes to where you're at, what you should be doing, and just to add what he said earlier as far as um, what he wanted to do and realizing when you get off track. For me, is when I lose the joy in the process. When I'm no longer enjoying the process of what I'm doing, I know I'm off track. When I'm fully engaged and I'm in love with the process and I'm not totally focused on just the results, I I feel that's when I'm my best self. As soon as I get a little bit caught up with the results, like, okay, I'm doing something now. Okay, I closed 2 deals. I'm on it now. That's when you start to get self-absorbed. You start missing those little pieces, those little steps, and then you start losing the joy. You start losing the love for it. For me, so for me, whenever I find myself losing the love for the process and caring more about the results, that's when I know I'm off track.
Anybody else on feeling on that?
My change didn't come from being like a crisis or something. I just had a situation of like positive interaction. Like I met somebody who positively influenced me to so I had a goal. You know what I mean? When I was doing wrong, I had a goal to be an artist and do all the things that I wanted to do. And I know it took money because somebody seen the opportunity and they said, you need money to do all this other stuff. Huh? Here go this pack. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm a go getter, so I did exactly that. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't until somebody showed me another outlet and I pursued it. It didn't take for me to have to bump my head. Nothing happened. It's just I saw a better opportunity, and I actually took it. So mine was just positive interaction. I feel like a lot of times a positive interaction with the right person can go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Because I already had the ingredients to do right. I just only knew what somebody showed me. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's what my situation was like.
Devin?
I think I bumped my head a couple times. I'm gonna say, for me, it's mostly after I bumped my head, then I realized that I'm disconnected from where I'm supposed to be at. You know what I'm saying? It's like, um, now if I'm not connected to God, I know I'm doing something wrong. Something is gonna be happening. There's always that voice is that saying, you're gonna go this way, and this is the way you're supposed to go, when I know I'm supposed to go that way. So now it's like where I try to figure out what way to go, what way is wrong and what way is right before I even make a move. And sometimes I still mess up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I mess up and I gotta sit back and think about it for a while before I even like catch myself. And then by then I got to apologize to somebody. I don't
Repent.
I done did something wrong. You know what I'm saying? But if you ever notice though, for real, like most of the time when we do the wrong thing or we go the wrong direction, is when we disconnect ourselves from God. That's the main thing, because if you follow him and just let him lead the way, you'll never go the wrong direction.
Question. So y'all talking a lot about God. How do y'all use God when y'all going through in your actual relationship? Do you find yourself trying to fix it, or do you trust God in that process?
I think with me personally, I trust God. I have to, because I feel like when there is tension, when there is a lot going on between me and my spouse, it's just like we can't come to a common ground. And at that point, I have to allow myself to take a step back and let God direct the way. And then at that point and at that time, we're both Christians. So we start to see the benefit of what God has in store for us when we allow God to lead the way. It's tough. It is tough trying to be a man and have a spouse who may sit there and be like, look, Right now, I don't think it's working, but we have to trust the process. So being able to allow God to dictate and see the fruits at the end of it is so important for me in my relationship because it's tough. It is tough. So,
What makes it tough?
My phone.
I think for me, the day-to-day grind of having a family, understanding that there's not enough time in the day for us to try to talk everything out. There's no way for us to sit there and try to talk it out. So to have simple conversations to allow ourselves to back up and then let this all fall into place. Because with children, with family, with work, it becomes difficult. And on my plate, I feel like it's a stressor. But then if I get into that moment, or we get into that moment, it's about bringing it back to God because I can't do it on my own, especially with my children. It's tough. We got to take them there, take them here. If the kids are having a bad day, it's just like, Lord, what am I doing? What am I doing? I have to allow you to set the scene or set the stage for me to make sure that they are all right, to bless our family. So.
I got a question for you. Now, do you think that if your kids are having a bad day, it's because of you?
Not at all, no. I don't think it's because of me.
Right.
It may be what they're going through during their day-to-day activities. Like I have a 15-year-old, I have a 14-year-old, a 10-year-old, and then I have my baby girl. So the youngest one, my daughter, I really don't worry about her because she's brand new. My oldest, that's the problem because he's in high school. He's dealing with so much. So on his level, it's different from day to day. We may have days where we're talking, we're good. We may have days where it's just like, it's an all-out fight. All-out fight. He plays sports, he goes to school, he does whatever. But sometimes if he feels that I'm against him, it's just like, I can't win with him. And at that moment, I have to be like, all right, I got to let this go. I got to let it go because it's tough. So, nah, I don't think it's me. I think it's everything else that comes out. So.
So the question still remains: how do you use? Here. Now y'all interviewing him.
I think just based on my upbringing, being raised, introduced to God at a very young age. My mom and my father were Christian. You remember your upbringing, and then you get to the point where you admit to yourself that, yeah, I can't do this. I can't figure this one out. I'm trying. I really can't figure this one. So at that point, you really just got to surrender to God because you realize that there's nothing you can do or say in that moment that's actually working. You probably tried everything you could, and it's just not working out. So that's when you really turn to God and seek his face, which that shouldn't be the only moment when you do it, but that's just the reality of it, that, yeah, I can't do this. I need help. And in most instances, God is the one that's there. So you might not always have a friend around or somebody you can call. In that moment, it's really just you and God and the situation that you might be dealing with. So God becomes very, very important in those moments. And I think that's when I turn to him the most. And really, really just to take the edge off.
So let me ask y'all this, because y'all being real church family.
Yeah, we
So
are.
let me ask you this: have you ever been in a situation where you didn't turn on God or turn to God because maybe your anger or your emotion was, higher than maybe your God consciousness?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. When I was, much like Colin, I was pretty much raised in church. And it wasn't until my crack addiction did I really seek God for the first time. I knew church. I knew my mom. I knew my dad, pretty much the whole family, preachers. But they knew God. And so a lot of times I try to use the discipline of the Marine Corps and mind over matter, if you don't mind, principles and techniques. And it got me more addicted to crack because then it gave me the courage to take shotguns, do banks, and do peoples at ATM machines. So it wasn't until one time I just got to the point where I'm like, God, and it was almost an argument. God, my mama know you, my auntie know you. Look, Negro, I don't know you. And so I don't want to do this dope anymore. I got tired of it because it kept putting me in risk, and God kept allowing me to get out of it without actually going to jail. So I had a few encounters. So finally I said to God, hey, if you the God that everybody is talking about, I don't want to do this no more. And I tell you, that was my real first encounter with me as an adult talking to God. And then since then, August 31st, 1991 was the last time I had a crack pipe in my mouth. In combat or on the street? I didn't have to shoot nobody because the Marine Corps taught me concealment, surprise. So some of the techniques that I would use, what's the first thing you do when you go to the ATM machine? You put in what you want for your money, correct? Then you get your card, and then you get your money. What's the first thing you do? You count. And in that process, when people were counting, when they turned, it was in your mouth. So I didn't have to go, and I bless God for that. But the hammers of that sawed-off shotgun, which I sawed it off, was cocked back. And that's God, because I was telling an individual before, I was the death that was in the street. People were praying. God is so marvelous that they were praying that they don't get hurt. They was praying that don't no evil come upon them. Well, guess what? In my addiction, I was the evil one. I was the one that was going to do you harm. And my conscious level was zero because of combat and the things that I've been through. That was nothing. If it went off, hey, so be it. So I'm just saying, I'm glad that he changed my heart. But in that's when I met God for real, though.
So I'm more like a spiritual person. I'm not too much religious. I have my own relationship with what I say the Most High. God, you can call him whatever you want, but I say Most High. I have a relationship where I feel like all the tools and necessary things for me to flourish as a human being were given to me. So I call out for strength and things that I may need to be a better person or work on to me. In a relationship, I would not call on to God because I feel like I have I always say as human beings have the ability to reason. Animals react and they have instinct. We have the ability to reason, so we should always be able to reason through any situation that we would say God would give us. So when in a relationship, a lot of times we just become irrational. That's like a breaking point. You know what I mean? So when I'm irrational, it's up. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never put my hands on a female. I never had to. But I get ignorant. You know what I'm saying? I make the bad decisions, make the regrets. But it's almost instant with me because I know better. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes as a weakness or being vulnerable, it's like this is what I tell myself. You're trying to hurt me, so I have to hurt you. And I'm really comfortable with saying that to myself. And that's just that's my trauma, and that's what I've been through that makes me that way, where like I might cuss a lot, right? Because I understand sometimes people may not get where I'm coming from. So I might give you an indicator. You know what I'm saying? So in a situation is like relationships, or I'll give you a better example. Like, how people crack on people and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. I don't understand that. That's my brain don't fathom, like, why do you want to say something bad about somebody and think it's funny? You know what I'm saying? So in a relationship, when you do something that misrepresents me or hurts me, like, you might as well leave me alone because it's up after that. You know what I'm saying? And then if we could communicate properly, we can get past it. But most people have communication issues. And a lot of times, I'll say, get mad at me. A lot of women sometimes lose their ability to reason because of emotions. So, like I said, at those points, a lot of times it's best to just leave me alone when you feel like that, because when it get up, like with me, a person, you start here, I treat you like the best thing ever, and as your actions will make you trickle down, and sometimes it don't go back up. You know what I mean? Like, people have problems with apologizing or being accountable. And if you like, if those are the type of issues, you might as well leave me alone too. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not perfect, but I fight for love. Like, love is my language. You know what I mean? Like, people say math is a universal language. Love is my language. You know what I'm saying? With me, with love, you can accomplish and do all the things that we set out and call on the God for. He gave us love already. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I am. But people struggle with it. You know what I'm saying? And communication, when all those barriers happen, like with me, just leave me alone, because it be up. You know what I'm saying? And I stay there, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know why. I be telling myself, Dave, just leave. Dave, chill out. Dave, and it don't work. You know what I mean?
Who else want to comment on that? What do y'all think about that whole reasoning thing, right? Like, a lot of times we're saying, okay, I'm calling on God, but where does that reasoning, right, your ability to kind of reason and be rational about what an argument that you may be having with your significant other or, boss?
My thing is, listen, like, when we be arguing, me and my partner, right? Oh, my thing is, like, when we argue, it's like, it seems like most of the time, if she come to me in a different tone, then I'll feel some type of way, for real. Like, I'm mad, for real, because, like, you ain't got to come at me like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you come and talk to me, just talk to me natural, just like you would talk to the outsiders, then we'll probably have a better conversation. But when you come and you like, didn't I tell you da-da-da-da-da, I'm not your kid. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm going to catch an attitude. And when I catch an attitude, I'm like 0 to 100. You know what I'm saying? So now I can't tone down. What I'll do, I'll turn around and walk away. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll take maybe a couple of days. And then I'll sit down like, you know what? Because I'll be like, in a couple of days, I'll be talking to God. I'm like, God, was I supposed to do that though? For real? There's another way that I could have handled the situation, you know what I'm saying? Because in that moment, I'm disconnected from him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not reaching to him at all. I'm reaching to me. Now it's about me.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So it's after a while, after 3 days or so, then I might come back down and be like, babe, look, hey, I apologize. And I always find myself doing that because the way, like, sometimes the way she talked to me is like, I feel like she disrespected me. So
I want to point out something, right? Because both of you, Dave and Devin, shared a thought. I need y'all to be able to catch this. They both shared a thought that actually triggers an emotion. Dave said, okay, if I feel like you coming at me, like this, then it's up, right? You saying she trying to talk to me like she my mama, like I'm a kid. It's those thoughts that actually trigger the emotion, not necessarily the event.
Right.
So when you say, okay, wait, hold on, how am I supposed to handle that? You got to pause long enough to be able to say, let me shift my thought. Because why would my wife, my partner, be talking to me like a kid? Why am I even receiving it like that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So those are things I want y'all to take away with that.
So, me personally, I lay it all out in the beginning. Like, if I'm about to be in a relationship with you, I'll let you know. I got abandonment issues, so it ain't me walking away. I'm not walking away because you leave me when you walk away. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to sit and try to talk it out, which that ain't everybody thing. You know what I mean? Right. A lot of people prefer to walk away. Don't walk away from me. We about to talk about this, and if we have to get angry at each other, all that's okay, because I remember first I love you. If I do, I love you. You know what I'm saying? So I can't do the walk away thing because it don't work for me. And a lot of people be like, just let me. No, I can't. It's my abandonment issue. Right. That's who I am. So all of the things that I got, I lay them out on the table in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't like this, and I say even, I get ill-tempered. If you do this, you do that, I'm going to black out. I'm not going to put my hands on you, but I'm going to black out. Right. So should just remember that I'ma always remember I love you first, and I'ma always remember that I'm willing to talk about anything, you know, and those things are always laid out. So, but people got their own issues too,
Right.
you know. So it might be somebody who you gotta walk away from, you know what I mean. But that'll be something that I talk about. I'ma already have all that laid out with me in a relationship, because if we all got these issues, they make us who we are. You know what I'm saying? If your issue doesn't comply with mine, then maybe we're not a match, or maybe we got to know we were fighting for it. You know what I mean? So that's how I am. Like,
But see, with me, I feel like there's arguments that come up with us, right? And I feel like they're not even big enough to be arguing. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I've been looking at things like we can sit down and talk about it, but if you come at me the wrong way, now we're gonna be having an attitude. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say something wrong. I'm for sure that I'm gonna say something wrong. I can guarantee that, right? And then I gotta apologize later on. But at that moment right there, I'm gonna say something wrong.
I
We're
want
gonna
to
just- we
I
just
want to
gonna
ask
apologize.
y'all, or this question is to both of y'all, because for me right now, where I'm at, and just focusing on self, I feel like in those moments of knowing that you just admitted that you know that in that moment you're gonna say something wrong, right? That means you know there's something that you haven't fixed. Not saying what your partner might say in that moment might be right.
Right.
But you just admitted that I know that this triggers me, and rather than fix it, I'm gonna just like he said, I'm gonna lay it out in the beginning. That's you always want to lay out who you are, how you operate. But to me, in some way, I think that you gotta be a little bit more accountable, as far as this triggers me, this makes me operate a certain way that I don't want to operate. So it's more so on self. Like if someone yells at me, I flash out. Why? Why do I flash out when someone yells? Why do someone yelling has that much control over my emotions and my thoughts? So that's just kind of where I'm at, as far as if you say this to me, I'm going to react, or if you treat me a certain way, I'm going to black out. Whatever that moment is, whatever that trigger is, it's very important for us to focus on ourselves and have control over that. Because what happens in most cases, people will learn those ways about you, and then they start to take advantage of that, and now you find you're losing more and more of yourself. Now it's just not a trigger. Now it's getting bigger and bigger. Okay, so you also react to this. And the list keeps growing and growing and growing and growing. So now when you're having that disagreement, a lot of times it don't even be about what actually happened. It's just that I know what triggers you, and I feel hurt, so I'm not even discussing the issue. I'm just trying to trigger you to the fullest extent. Because right now I feel like I'm hurt, or I feel like I'm in a certain space where I'm not comfortable. So I know you don't like A, B, C, and D. Guess what I'm about to do? Say A, B, and C the whole time. Because I know that's how you react. I know that's how I hurt you. I know that's how I get to you emotionally. So back what I was saying earlier about just being conscious about yourself and understanding you and pouring into you and building you up, it's also about accountability for your actions in every situation and understanding what affects you and how it affects you, and what you can do to protect your peace and your energy, so that even in those moments where you might not be wrong, you don't find yourself handling this situation where you got to go back a couple days later to say, babe, I'm sorry. Rather than, I don't think this is a moment I want to respond to you, so I need you to give me some space.
You
Or
tried that
I'm going to
before?
just take it.
You tried that before and it worked?
Yeah. Yeah. Now I haven't tried it in every moment, because it's from like right now for me, that's just self-discovery. So as I'm figuring myself out, I'm sharing it.
I'm
So
talking about with a woman.
yeah. Not every moment, but I feel like you have your moment where you're built up mentally, spiritually, like when you're in line with what you're doing, you handle situations better. But going back to when I'm not in love with a process and I'm not locked in, anything throws me off. Now the slightest thing you say triggers me. But if I'm locked in on, okay, I'm trying to achieve this week, or I'm trying to achieve that in the next 2 weeks, I'm really not bothered by the little things. But if I'm not focused and I'm not locked in, now my mind is just wandering. So any little thing throws me off my game. Now I'm flashing, I'm reacting because I'm not locked in.
What do you think about that, Danny? Because that's a good question, right?
I don't think women behave like that. I don't think, a lot. It takes a certain level of being mentally stable to be like, yeah, you're right. And maybe I'm dealing with the wrong type of women and they out there, but I've never seen.
So notice what he said. He's not talking about the women.
I know, that's why I said women, and he was like, yeah.
Yeah, but he's talking about self.
Right, but that's when I wanted to make sure. That's
But-
when I said
but
making
go-
sure. You talking about with a woman.
For a
and he
little
said,
bit more clarity, in that moment, it's not really about whether they react to what you say or not. Like I said, when you ask, I'm going to either take the space or you're going to give me some space. But what I'm not about to do is go off and probably say some stuff. I know for a fact that in a couple of days, I'm going to have to come back to you and be like, man, I didn't really mean that. So before I got to come back to you and apologize, I'd rather, I'm going to cool myself off.
I deal with women from a different world where like it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be any of those things to make like this is being real. I'm gonna be candid because that's what I do. Sometimes a woman might just want to start some ish with you just for you to bend her over a certain way or something. You know what I'm saying? That's a reality. Like, you know what I'm saying? She might want to start some mess with you because she feel like you ain't showing her enough attention. It's a lot of reasons why women get in that mode. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes peace ain't the answer. You know what I'm saying? So we might try that, but that's just not how.
Wait. Why you say peace is not the answer? Maybe you mean peace is not your response. What do you mean peace is not the answer?
Because sometimes they ain't what they want.
Oh, so you just gonna give them. So if they won't drama.
I might, like me, I'm very empathetic. So you might come in the house like, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm supposed to say what's wrong. But I ain't going to say it. I'm just going to see where this go. So next thing you know, you slam a couple doors. You know what I'm saying? You slam a couple doors and then I might be like, everything okay? How was your day? And then if it's like, if it don't pertain to me, and I'm just like, if it's something you want to talk to, we can talk about. Because she could be coming to use me as a punching bag. I could be the punching bag for the day. So that's when I be like, I might rub on her or something to see if she want me to get it out of her another way. You feel me? And if that don't work, then it's like, okay, I see you just really want to argue. You know what I'm saying? And then my ignorance, like, okay, let's do this then. You know what I'm saying? Let's do this then. I tried everything else. Let's do this. I do this. But see, like, I'm like the person who, like, I know we how imperfect we can be, and sometimes I just be like, you gotta give him that. You know what I'm saying? You gotta give him that. I don't always like. I always say that in a world where you think the war angel would be somebody who want war, but the war angel fights for peace. You know what I'm saying? So I have my own way, like, of thinking that sometimes I just gotta meet you somewhere where, you know what I mean, and it might be a dark place, so I might have to meet you there though. Cause we all got our own trauma, man. I don't know if I just attract people with massive amounts of trauma, but that's just the world I live in. You know what I'm saying?
Man, y'all
But I
got
respect what you're saying though, for sure.
You got it pretty good, man. Both, all of us. What I'm gonna say now, because this is real getting. Sometimes I don't black out, but a lot of times when that situation happens, I get to a place where I don't care, and I got a place because of my wife and who she is. She hits me with rationale, reasoning, and logic. And right now, I don't even want to talk to God in this situation. I don't want to hear from God, let alone you. And so I end up trying to explain, and my explanations I feel are not. I think they're valid, but I'm always told, well, that doesn't go to the point. Let's handle it this way, and let's do it this way. So when I feel that I'm misunderstood, zip, I shut it down. Or I just go storming their way. That way there's no change that happens to me. Because, I mean, that broad, she hits me with logic, man, reasoning and rationale. And I'll be like,
I need to get this out.
I got to get this out. I mean, I got it so bad. One time, can I be honest here? Listen, Cameron, be honest up in here. So I got my moments. You know, you get my age, you know, don't do that all the time. Most of the time, they're like that. Most of the time. So I had my moment. Man, I'm trying to do something. Homegirl turns on the boy from Atlanta. He's talking about fasting. Sean, you hear me out there? He's talking about fasting, 40 days of this, and it's going to change. I don't need that right now. I need to get this off of me. Are you understanding me? That's the reality of life. So I had to go the rest of the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, like, don't nobody say jack to me today. As you should, see? And that's what I'm saying. And so when she hits me with that, man, y'all understand that? Young man, you gonna understand that. What you doing shaking your head? You 16. But I was like, nah, baby. You normally are sensitive to the spirit. And I just know the Holy Spirit was over in the side like, no, not now, Shauna, not now. Let him do, because the bed is undefiled when you're married. Yeah. So not now, baby. Now's not the time. Let him. And I was like, oh, man. So the rest of that day, it was just tragic with this stuff. And I took a whole lot of stuff personal because I felt personally offended. And that's my issue. I don't know how many of y'all do when you internalize something and you get personal about it. And I don't know what y'all do in that area, but that's the truth. And we're not talking about last month. We talking recently. So I just wanted to bring that to the forefront because we deal with that. Huh? Yeah, you're not here right now.
You gotta hit her with that same logic she hit you with. You done been in enough 101s. Yeah, I feel triggered. That's what you should have said that day. I feel triggered.
My word is, fuck you. I have to just say it.
Yeah.
That's my word. If I can avoid saying that,
Yeah.
I'll always be. Like, logic sounds good to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like how you just said, that's
Man.
my word right there.
I
When
know.
I'm like, I ain't trying to hear that, I'm straight. My brain, like, you know what you got to say. You know what I'm saying? Like, I swear, like, and all the time in an argument with a female, I be in my head like, just don't say it, David. You don't mean it. You love her. You like her. You want to continue everything. Just don't say it.
Don't say it.
And it's
Don't
like
say it.
in my head, one more word. You got me. I feel like you right. But if you say one more thing, I'm gonna say it. And they know how I use that word like a real sword. You know what I'm saying? So as long as I can avoid that one word, it'll be okay. Like, but like how you felt that I can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I can't continue this day feeling like this. It's not going. I'm going to make the most irrational decision and do the things that I'm going to regret on purpose. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I can't do that.
Yeah. So that's just it.
I can't do that one, but
Man. Yeah, you married. I ain't never been married, but I'm always committed. But
I understand.
if you break, like I got guidelines. If you break my guidelines, you know our contract is diminished. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's just how I am.
Yes. Shut it down. Shut it down with that. Just being real, guys. And all I'm saying is a lot of times we be struggling with some things. And sometimes we can get very, very emotional. Young men coming up, you got to be strong enough that you can release your tears. You really can. You got to be strong enough that no matter who's looking, you have to be strong enough that them pointing the finger don't affect you to the point that you can't release yourself through tears, crying, or going somewhere. I used to go out to Mommy Bay State Park beautiful place, and just go out there to the dock and say, ah! You know, you got to find a release, because if that gets bottled up in you, not just physically but spiritually, you're going to have some issues. You will have some issues. You will do some things that you really do not want to do. Any comments on that?
I can definitely speak to that. It gets to a point where, like you said a few minutes ago, don't nobody say nothing to me today. So you're not just hurting yourself. You might not just hurt your partner or whoever it is you might have that energy towards. It gets to a point where you start affecting everybody around you. So it's definitely very important to, going back to self, and I know I keep saying it, but I think you know when you're getting to that breaking point, or not just a breaking point. You get into that point where if I have another argument today, whoever it is they're gonna get his work today, because I'm about right here, right now. So the next person say something to me I don't like, so it's just getting back to yourself and knowing that if I have another argument, if somebody says something to me I don't like today, I probably should stay to myself today.
Yes.
I should probably not go around people. If I'm at work, wherever I'm at, I should probably just be to myself today till I get myself under control. So that's kind of like one way to deal with it. But that built up frustration, and not just anger, because you don't want to just see that that's the only reason for, like lashing out. It could be anything. Yeah. It could be not being heard. It could be not feeling love. It could be feeling like being misunderstood. It could be a lot of different things that causes you to lash out. So I would say pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to the things that really trigger you, not just for the people around you, but just mostly for yourself. Because after you unleash, a lot of times in your quiet moments, you'll be like, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably should.
Did you ever do that, Jay?
He like, no.
They got you there. They just have to reap what they sow.
Hey, like she asked for it, I gave it to her.
Like I said, I don't get mad easy. I don't disrespect people. I never think about trying to hurt people. I'm always committed. Always remember I love you. When you break those barriers, it's like you really invited everything to come with it. You know what I'm saying? So my main warning, and please don't judge me, people, but I always tell anybody in a situation, I say, this not gonna end how you think it ends. That's my final word. When you hear me say that, you know what comes next ain't cool. You know what I'm saying? So I always say that to people, and I even say, like, and to what you said earlier, I always feel like I'm going on the right path because I walk in my purpose. So I feel like when I'm making these mistakes, they were meant to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'll give y'all a situation that happened. I had a sucker attack kind of like about a month ago. I call them sucker attacks so they can make me accountable at the most. You know what I'm saying? So it was a situation where I was kind of ending a situation, my relationship. And upon ending my relationship, she had company come over, right? And I wasn't supposed to be there, but the person showed up. The old me would have had a very negative response, you know what I mean? And I'm a fighter. I'm a boxer, you know what I mean? I'm a fighter, so that's what I do in my second nature. You know what I'm saying? But I'm way past that. I'm way, way, way past that person. But in my head, when you hurt me to a certain extent, confrontation is an option. You know what I'm saying? So I'm in a situation, but I'm being kind. I'm being very reasonable, but my action is I'm not leaving, right? And this guy is here, and I'm saying I'm not leaving, so we here together. You know what I mean? And he like, why is this dude here? and she's like trying to be very rational, and she's being very caring towards me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, knowing that it might have upset me. You know what I'm saying? So she's being very caring. I'm still like, I'm just in my head like, Dave, just leave. You could leave right now. But what I said was, only way I leave here is in handcuffs. So that's what I said, right? And I call myself standing on that dumbass shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm standing on it. Like, in my mind, I'm like, just leave. Because he's a good guy. You should feel better leaving with this good guy. You know what I'm saying? But I still didn't. You know what I mean? I still didn't. And I never did. You know what I'm saying? So the situation ended cool. You know, everybody respectfully went about their way. You know, yeah. I didn't leave. No, I never left. I said what I said. Yeah. I stayed. Yeah, I said what I said, and I standing on it. I ain't like I said. This is like some time, man, and I stayed stuck on it because I said it. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, a guy at a club had a sucker attack too, right? And he was being so confrontational and losing his mind. But guess what? I was being rational because I had just went through this. You know what I'm saying? And to me, I was just like, man, this life is so, you know what I mean? It's so mapped out and perfect. You know what I mean? If we allow everything to be a lesson. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it was just such a teachable moment for me because and where I'm at in life, me having a suck attack is just absurd. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm way too smart for it. But I invited it into my life.
Somebody said, did he spend the night?
Yeah, I stayed the night, yeah. I stayed the night. I never left, no. I said I wouldn't leave. Man, listen. When I say something, I stand on it. When I say cleats, concrete, I'm standing on what I say. And I don't, for some reason, I feel like when you get me there, I stay there. You know what I'm saying? And I haven't, in my life, is all the blessings, I still haven't got to the point where I be like, Dave, it's time to go or do the right thing. It don't happen. It don't happen to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just don't. Man, don't. Hey, look, but I'm telling you, I swear those key words, people know me for them. Like, this ain't going to end how you think it's going to end. When I said that, it should have been like, let me just tell this dude not to come. You know what I'm saying? Or let me figure out a resolution that feels good to everybody. Because when I go there, it's just over with. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and this is a good me. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just it was the bad me was thinking that I used to think this, right? I used to think that there were things in life that were worth fighting over. You know what I'm saying? So like, you call me a bitch or something. I felt like those things were worth fighting over until I got to a certain level in my life where I understand that there's nothing a person should be able to do to me to make me put my hands on them. Only put their hands on me. You know what I'm saying? But that took tons of growth. You know what I mean? Because I used to, like I said, remember I told y'all my dad taught me this ignorant stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when you make decisions that hurt me, I feel like you're trying to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? So I will hurt you. You know, and like I said, fighting is my second nature. You know what I mean? But luckily, I just learned to fight for good things. You know, but it used to be fighting with these. You know what I'm saying? So I go back to it because it's my second nature. But, you know, I haven't had to put my hands on people in a very long time. But I have had sucker attacks. And it's way too common for me to be where I'm at mentally. But it's just like, I feel like when people take me there, it's just like, I kept on warning you not to take me there. I kept on telling you that these are my triggers, and you just inviting it into your world. Now you got to get what you asked for. I feel like this might be a lesson I got to teach you. You know what I mean? If no one gets hurt, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. That's my ignorance. But, yeah, I just can't help it. But I'm just so happy that happened. So.
Yeah, right, of course. I don't know how the other guy felt. But
Oh no, the other guy with the situation at the club, he could have went to jail. It could have been very bad had we not all been like, no, he actually punched somebody. He punched somebody, and I went to the dude like, bro, he's having a sucker attack. Haven't you had one of them before? I just had one. And this man had a gun on him. You know what I'm saying? He had a gun on him. The dude who punched him didn't know he had a gun on him. So he could have did anything, but luckily I went through that and was able to just say, look, bro, forgive that little. And he went and apologized to him and had a good night the rest of the night. It was wonderful. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I always feel like when you walk in your purpose.
But what about the guy that you made leave from his house? How was he?
So he, I guess he was a really confident person. Like, so he was just like, it's cool, you know, you got too much going on. I made her look like she got a toxic life. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't for that. And it was just like, I said, I'll talk to the man if you want me to. You know what I'm saying? I'll talk to him and tell him the situation. He knew where I was, which was strange. He knew where I was. But I feel like you know, he a man. A man come for what a man come for. All I did to him was get in the way of what he came for. You know what I'm saying? I don't feel like, you know, I don't feel like he was just like, you put me through this night. It was just like, dang, I ain't get what I came for. You know what I'm saying? That's what I felt. Man, listen to me. Listen to me. This man brought so much food. He brought so much food. Like, this man brought about $100 worth of food from Canada's. And I'm just like, the funniest part about it is he was like, do you want some tacos? And I was like, I'm a vegetarian. He like, oh, I got vegetarian tacos. I said, we eating tacos. and she just looking like, I would beat you up if I could. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro. Man, listen, I said, that's a great dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, he brought everything. He brought a buffet, a little mini buffet. You know what I'm saying? He had all the drinks. He had different options. I said, man, that's a good dude. You better get him back. You know what I'm saying? You better get him back. Yeah.
The level of craziness, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They all ate tacos.
No, I mean, she said no, he can't have no taco. She cut the taco thing off. You know what I mean? She wasn't none of that.
I to some degrees, I get it. What he's saying.
I mean, this is
petty.
my thing. If you say you come over as a friend, I shouldn't be a problem, right? That's what you said. He's just a friend. Why would a friend have a problem with another friend being there? That was my logic.
No, the question is, why wouldn't the friend leave? Who should have been leaving?
Me?
Yes.
Because I said I'm staying.
He stood on that.
I stood on what I said. You know what I'm
That's where you
saying?
missed that at.
Yeah.
You missed that part.
I said
See?
in the beginning, but when I heard the doorbell, like, the doorbell, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, tell him to leave. Because I'm only leaving one way in handcuffs.
So was you already there?
Yeah, I was already there.
there.
Yeah.
Oh,
so, but it's still my fault because I popped up. But to have a conversation, a quick conversation, and we had a conversation, and she lost track of time. You get what I'm saying? She just lost track of time that this man was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. So it was honestly, it felt like the Most High, like, you know what I'm saying, putting us in our situations, letting us know it's time to let go. It's time to. We was already there, but you know, I feel like on top of realizing that it's time to let go of each other, I felt like it happened because that stuff with that dude, because that could have went bad. He really stole on my dude who had a gun on him. You know what I'm saying? Legal gun. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, I feel like it was all meant to be. It was a small little grain of insanity and toxicity for me. You know what I mean? But you know, it was all meant to be, I felt.
Okay.
All right. The time. Any last minute comments? What would you say to a gentleman that's watching now that is having a difficult time managing his emotions? So whether it's seeking a higher power, taking ownership, being reasonable, what would you say to that person?
Find what works for you. Do not be like Dave. Find what works for you and don't be like Dave.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
I agree.
for real.
No, so, that was serious. I was serious with mine.
No, I believe you.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like,
That don't
for
work
real,
for
a lot of
everybody.
us people who love strong need to know where to give our love. Everybody don't deserve our love.
Yes.
Everybody don't deserve our love, and that's just the hardest pill to swallow. You know what I'm saying? Because people might make you feel like they love you, make you feel like they care about you, but the ego is so strong. Sometimes a woman wants to hold you hostage, but don't want to love you. You know what I mean? Or they don't want you to be with nobody else, but don't want to be with you. It's so many things that a woman can do, and you let your heart, put you in a situation where you fighting for something you shouldn't fight for. You know what I mean? Like, I should have been let go, but I'm like, no, I love you enough to fight for you, but no, I should have been let go because it wasn't where we was at wasn't a good space. You know what I mean? And some people activate their ego and trauma. You know what I mean? And that will make you say, I don't want nobody else to be with this dude. I'm in love with this dude. But in all actuality, you don't want nobody else to have me. That's your ego guiding you instead of yourself. You know what I mean? Or whatever your higher power should be guiding you, but you letting your ego guide me and keep me in your life, and you know I shouldn't be there.
As far as emotions, I think we need to develop a different mindset when it comes to emotions. Like, if you're angry, whatever that emotion is, I think at times we need to embrace it. I think what happens a lot of times we try to run away from what that emotion is, and we don't discover the lesson in there. So when it happens again, I'm angry again, and I still don't know how to handle that anger because every time I get to this point, all I do is run away, or all I do is walk away instead of embracing that moment. Okay, I'm angry right now. Why am I angry? What caused me to get this angry? And figuring out what is it that triggered you, what is it that's taking you to this place. That way, when it happens again, or you figure out a way to not let it get there. But if you find yourself in either anger or sadness, whatever that emotion might be, sometimes you gotta just embrace it. Like right now, I'm pissed off. You go take a moment to yourself. Why am I this angry? Why did this affect me this way? And you try to find answers for yourself because if you don't embrace that, I think you're going to keep hitting your head right there over and over and over because you keep experiencing it, but not to the fullest to where you find the lesson.
I think this was a great session. Dave, man, who? I understand where he's coming from, and I also understand where you're coming from. Sam, when you had said, you find that space where you need to let go and just let God. I believe that in times of hardship, in times of moments where you're not clear, God gives you that ability to set back and understand that those emotions can flow. Once those emotions flow, you feel good. And for me, being spiritual, knowing that God has allowed me to cleanse myself is the moment that I tend to understand a little bit more, because there are times where I may not show emotion in front of my kids or my wife, but God does something where those emotions comes out, and I'm just like, now I understand, God. So he gives me that ability to be like, I'm going to cleanse you now. And at that time, it allows me more freedom to be the man that I need to be for my family. So this session was really good, just understanding that sometimes you need that cleansing and searching for it, or understanding what God has for you, or understanding whatever the higher power is, that you just need to be able to cleanse yourself from anything that's going on. So.
I would say just try to sit down and try to communicate with each other a little bit better, a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? You're not always right, and they're not always right either. So you guys just got to come to the happy medium. So.
In those moments of frustration and conflict and pressure, a lot of times I find myself have taken my eyes off God. I really have. Because it's no surprise to God what we're going through. And so I have to go back into to Psalms for my steps have been ordered. The steps of a righteous man. And from what I heard here, no matter how we looked at it, I believe that we are all righteous men. We may not like the steps that are being ordered, and we may not like the situation. And this is why I say that delight in them. And so I have to find myself when I get out there that bad, hey, I need to be quiet, sit my butt down, and listen. Because if Sam had his way, this doggone thing will be jacked up. It really will. And I don't have the restraint you have sometimes, sir. You know, I got a little tick, tick, tick be going on. I don't know why. I'm follow your advice. I'm going to separate myself, like you said. And, okay, God, what are you saying in this situation? Because I need to learn the lesson, because I don't need to repeat the same old thing over and over, and I find myself doing that. So, men, young men, y'all pray my strength as well, because we all need prayer from each other. You know what we're going through. Pray our strength.
I want to add one more thing really quick. I think it's also very important to know what's the bigger picture, because you're gonna go through hardship in life, regardless of what it is, relationship, job, career, whether you're trying to build a business, you're gonna go through hardship. if you don't find a way to remember what the end goal is or what the bigger picture is, it's hard for you to focus, and not just hard for you to focus, but it's hard to make those sacrifices when you're not remembering, okay, should I be yelling at that person or should I be reacting this way? Because my end goal is to spend the rest of my life with this person. My end goal is to become a millionaire. So should I be not putting those extra 2 hours in? Like, once you remember what the end goal is or what you're really trying to accomplish in those moments, I think it makes it a little bit easier to make those sacrifices.
And just to be clear, I didn't know why he was walking around with attitude. So a lot of times y'all may be walking around with attitude
No
and
comment.
people don't even know.
No comment. No comment.
Keep it simple with men. Just keep it simple. Your first choice is probably, that's it.
I'm gonna say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna see what you guys would feel, how we guys would feel about this right here. Now, I had a situation the other day, right? And this situation was with my daughter. Right? Now, I had a situation with my other daughters before, and it didn't go well. Right? Now, this situation is where I feel like my daughter was snitching on me. Right? I went to the store. We went to the store, because me and my daughter, we roll together. We roll hard for real. And we went to the store, and when we was going through the cash register, I wasn't paying enough attention, right? I went and bought a piece of rug, and she bought like 2 little things of soap and something else we got. And we went through the cash register. The lady ring it up, and she was like, well, it was like, come up to like $200 or something. So I like just pushed the card through there, and I was back there at first when she was saying whatever she was saying, but I wasn't really paying no attention. I was trying to find out what kind of Snicker bars. Should I get a Snicker bar? Or should I get Reese cups, right? So I'm there trying to figure it out, and she said whatever she said. I pushed the card in there, put my numbers in, put my card number in. So the thing like declined, right? So as soon as it declined, my daughter looked at me and she was like, Dad, I'm telling Mom. I'm telling Mom. I'm calling. I'm like, tell Mom what? She was like, I'm telling Mom, you almost spent $200 for da-da-da-da. I'm like, you a snitch. right. I'm like, you a snitch. And I'm mad now because I'm like, to me, it was like, it triggers something else that happened way down with my other daughter. You know what I'm saying? Because like, my other daughter, she called the police on me like 2 or 3 times. And it wasn't called for. And so when she did that, she was like, I'm calling my mom. I'm telling my mom, and I'm telling on you. And she went on to start. I was hot.
So what triggered you? What triggered you?
The fact that we roll together. Instead of just waiting and just be like, Dad, aren't you happy that I was here? Because I noticed that you was paying for too much. Before I even repay for it, she was like, I'm calling Mom. I was hot. I was mad. Or maybe I shouldn't have got mad, but it was like, I can't believe you're my daughter because you my, you know what I'm saying? We roll like that. And you're doing this stuff.
But look, it's like, turn him in, right? But it's like that connection, right? Years ago, your daughter called the police.
Yeah.
It's like this trouble. So I'm wondering, the way you look at your wife, is it more as if you can be in trouble with your wife?
Because that's what it kind of seems to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so you're calling my wife like I'm gonna get in trouble or something. You know what I'm saying? Like you trying to get me in trouble or something.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, Dad, I'm just telling him. And I said, you know what? I went on.
Did you?
I went on.
You think she was just playing though?
Well, now it comes to where she's like, well, my wife is like, well, she was just playing. I said, no, she wasn't playing because she wouldn't have called you that fast.
Yeah.
Because first, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, when my wife started going, we're gonna be arguing. You know what I'm saying? So why would you do something like that?
She probably didn't know what else to do in that moment, and it could have been.
Talk to
but
me.
it could have been out of love, not wanting you to do that. she might have handled it the right way.
I disagree. I love you, Colin, but I disagree
What
because I
you
had
think?
a issue with my son, and a lot of time we ain't on our.
Oh yeah, we know.
Okay, I had an issue. I have an issue sometimes with my son, and a lot of times, me and my son don't agree on situations, and he may look at it this way, and I may look at it a totally different way. So this is in that whole segment where I'm walking around here with my lip poked out, and he gets in the car and he tells me, I said, son, what's wrong? He says, well, I'm tired. I don't feel like talking. I said, oh, okay. So that evening when I pick him up, there was an incident. And instead of it just being an incident between father and son, he tap dances and gets mama involved. And it presents a situation where me and him can't handle anything, regardless of whether she was going to do anything or not. And so it puts me in the situation like, oh, so me and you can't iron out anything before you leave the premise or before you put somebody else in it. And so it makes a stagnation in the relationship. Not because I think but Sam, me and you got to figure some stuff out. Man to man or young man to father to son. You can't always integrate somebody else.
Okay, now watch that. That sounds good, right?
Right.
That sounds like, dang, he putting his mama in the middle of it, right? That's how that sounds, right? Well, the reality is, he told his son, our son, to make sure he tell him when he want to go somewhere after school. Don't tell him when he picked him up. Sam doesn't answer his text. The son can't call the phone. So he texts me, hey, mom, just let dad know I want to go to the gym. That wasn't no big deal.
That wasn't.
I'm like, that's all that was. But he looked at it like,
But it was the after
son was
effect.
getting me involved.
Did he tell you anything else about our conversation?
Yeah, he did.
That right there is
But
what
she
I'm
was
talking
already
about.
upset.
But see, that's what I'm saying. It didn't give the father and the son the opportunity to squash it.
I think practice makes perfect, and you trying to practice a good habit. You know what I'm saying? But some young people confide in their mother more than they do their fathers, just naturally, because just like a child may respect the father more, they're gonna confide in the mother more. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like natural selection, where you gotta think maybe he just confided in his mama because it was
That's
easier.
absolutely.
See, so as a therapist, right? Now, this is where I come in with this. As
Oh,
a
look,
therapist,
this is where he gets in trouble.
No.
No,
As
go
a
ahead.
therapist,
Logic.
I see a lot of men and women who come to me because of things that happened to them as a child, right? Whether it's with their father and this and that. So I don't take sides. I try to let my husband know things so he don't have these kids that grow up and don't want to be around him. He don't look at it like that. He look at it as it's us against him. And I'm like, I don't have no side. So now oftentimes I'm trying to figure out, why are you getting defensive? You know what I'm saying? Because the only reason I'm telling you this is because you about to have a son with your namesake that's not going to even want to talk to you when you get older. So that's all that be. It don't be no confinement because my son was like, I get in the car, dad talking to me about this. He ain't say nothing about the scholarships, the football scholarships I got. He ain't said this is the son's perspective. You know what I'm saying? So for me, when we're raising kids, he's military. I'm like, okay, I got to look at everything because I don't want my son sitting in the seat of a therapist because of something his dad did and his mama watched. You see what I'm saying? So I'm going to always be like, hold on, I'm the voice of reason. I don't take sides. You know what I'm saying? I do not take sides.
But you don't think him wanting to communicate with his son was the proper practice?
What you mean wanting to communicate?
So he wanted to talk to him, but he said, I don't feel like talking.
Oh, no, he ain't even talking about that.
Oh, them two different incidents.
Yeah, that was early.
Okay,
That
my
was
bad. I
early.
missed that. I missed that. Okay.
This
Yeah.
is afternoon to show
But
you
what-
how that day was.
But let me just answer that, right?
Did y'all ever get clarity on whatever he didn't want to talk about?
He's not talking. So he left off with, I ain't talking.
You have to talk.
No.
That's where we at right now.
Here's the thing, y'all.
Help me, man.
And this is the thing. Now I gotta help y'all, man.
Yeah, help us here.
No, but here's the thing, right? If your child, nephew, cousin, whatever, right? Your girl's child don't want to talk to you. You gotta be like, okay, hold on, what's up with me? How am I presenting this? Because you trying to force them to talk to you and this and that. it's going to create more damage. So you got to be like, okay, hold on, because I'm always saying to my husband, like, okay, if they coming to me and not coming to you, how are you presenting it? You see what I'm saying? Because we often think that we're on a different page. I don't mind, huh?
I don't feel like it's like that, or I don't necessarily agree with that because it could be him having something going on personally. It don't even have to be that he just didn't want to talk to his dad. He probably don't even want to talk in that moment because whatever it is.
Okay.
So it's not always how the information is presented because, like, even in a relationship, you'll have your moments where you present the information as nice as possible. And it ain't going how you think it was going to go. So I'm telling you, it ain't always... It ain't always how the information is presented. And that goes both ways. Because sometimes the information might be presented to me nice, but I already got what I got going on, and I could care less how the information care. I don't even like it.
But didn't he just tell y'all he was bagged up or whatever, however you
No, that was later on that night. That's how you ended that night.
So like I'ma say.
So the day started off like that. The afternoon or the midday was the other part. Then at the bedtime, then she pulled that stuff. Like, okay, we gonna listen
Kids,
to the Lord.
youth can be master manipulators. Youth can be master manipulators. So if my father said to me, he wants to talk to me, and I don't feel like talking about it right now, there's a way I can say it where he can peacefully know that now is not the time. If he didn't do that, he manipulated you.
No.
But he said he did. So you really should have gave him this. Oh, you said he didn't.
I just let him out the car.
No, okay, wait. Let me say.
Right, I just let him out the car that morning.
Different scenarios.
No, but I'm saying if that was the case.
Yeah,
If that was the
but what
case.
I'm saying is, in the morning, he's just trying to have a conversation.
But he never went back to him like that. Hey, I'm feeling better. I'm feeling better.
Never did.
Right,
Yeah, and
I
that's
ain't
not
had
right.
nothing to do with that conversation. I got in because my son texted me to tell dad that he wanted to go to the gym afterwards. So it had nothing to do with the.
Yeah, yours is just a simple relay of messages
It's a
to you.
Yeah, that's all it was.
Yeah.
It was a relay of
But when he said it was more to it, well, how did you respond?
No, I was trying to help him see because Sam got a way of switching things up. So I was trying to help him see. At the end, did you okay?
All I'm saying to you, I'm a person, military. It's automatically that it's this first, response or no response. Then it's this. Then it's this. That's how I handle. That's how I do combat. I don't know no other brainwashing technique. That's what I got taught. And so when you try to put it all together, it doesn't work. So what I do is I address this first. Then I'll address this, even though this is on the backside, so it looks like there's an interchanging of information that was not there. Most people that's not military will go to this first. They'll go to the mission or the task at hand. I have to do, okay, what caused the task? Okay, what was this? Then what was that? That's how I think. And so if it comes out something different, it's because now I'm on stage 5 when I just gave you what was going on in stage 1. That's how I think.
I suggest the whole world behave like that because you see people one day and you don't see them ever again all too often.
Okay.
So I feel like the way you said, you want to build that relationship where you and your son can talk about anything. That's essential.
Yes.
That's a goal you should think about every day, like you saying. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like whatever that barrier is that makes it so they think that they can shut down and never continue your conversation or feel comfortable enough to confide in you like they confide in her.
Right.
That's the barrier you got to break.
Yes.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
So listen, y'all
Yes.
got it? And he knows. So when I'm talking, y'all, I'm not talking from a Lashana woman, white perspective. I'm talking from a behavioral health
Understand.
perspective. I just need y'all to understand that. Right?
Understood. That's a
So
fact.
I'm
That's a
helping
fact.
you put different things together. Because at the end of it, he recognized that he did some things that was off. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not one that's going to be in the middle. I want that right there, where the
Yes.
child and the father can communicate. So if I'm sharing with my husband why the communication is not taking place and why you're frustrated, because I deal with the same thing, but I don't mess up my peace. You see what I'm saying? So if you come to me and you say something is messing with my peace, I say to you, well, here's the step. This is what I do. And you reject it, I'm going to say you must don't want peace. You see what I'm saying? Because to me, it's not about right or wrong. It's about whether or not we're being effective. And so if you're not being effective in your stance, military or not, I'm saying, why do we keep repeating it? If you're not being effective, that's the end of the day. If you're not being effective, why do you keep repeating a same cycle?
A subconscious response is when you don't feel something reciprocated. Maybe it's a feeling that he feels might not be reciprocating. So his response ain't always, no offense, logical, because he feel like something ain't being reciprocated. You know what I mean?
It could be.
It's a response sometimes.
It could be. It could be. It could be. Yep. Yep. It could be.
The way I feel is like
Y'all, we got
if me and my dad say this, my dad, me and my dad getting into some kind of disagreement or whatever, right? I feel like there is no reason why my mom should be getting into what we got going on,
Right.
no matter what.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? We got to sit down and we got to squash this together.
Yep. I agree with that.
But I mean, these kids nowadays, they not doing that. You know what I'm saying? The mama jumping in, and they staying in it instead of, look, son, you got to deal with your daddy. This your daddy, you got to deal with him.
So I agree
You see
with
what I'm
that.
saying?
But the only issue with this was, Sam, our pastor would text me or call me because
Right.
Sam don't answer the phone.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it wasn't a situation where he was trying to manipulate anything. It was literally he don't answer the phone or text, so he texts me just to give him a message. Cause I'm looking at it like, why you texting me? Cause I don't know the conversation they had.
Okay.
So I could have got upset if I was all emotional and crap. But I'm like, wait, why you texting me? You walking or something? You want me to tell Dad? Cause to me, I'm like, if Dad picking you up, why you can't just tell Dad?
Right.
I'm not knowing they done had this conversation.
But you know you didn't answer the phone, or
He knows
Well,
he don't
see,
answer
here's
the
the
phone.
I normally don't answer phones because I usually have a client. I usually have something going on. And I don't answer the phone. I'll look at it later. But this happened today. I text my daughter. I love her. I did a whole lot today. So this day I was on the phone. The real issue came because she texted my wife. But guess what? She didn't relay the message to me.
I did that day.
That day after it was over with. Because you had clients. I'm talking about on his text. And you didn't get that back to me. And so I'm going on past information. That's all. But it's, everything's going to clear up.
So what's that? Everything that you're saying, I'm getting it. Like I say, with my 15-year-old son over here, like it's always that communication barrier. Because when he tells me he don't want to talk, at that point I have to shut it down. But then eventually he comes back and we have that conversation. At some point though, it's like if he's calling his mother because me and his mother is not together, sometimes I feel a certain way because I feel like the mom is now the person who has to deal with the conversation. If I'm having a conversation with him, I really don't want to talk to mom. We need to talk this out, but sometimes he feels that his mother is the person he goes to because of the trauma or the events that has already happened. Right.
Well, he's right there. Let him answer it.
That has already happened.
Yeah, come on, answer.
Why do you go to your mom?
Come on, answer, Jay. We've been
I
here
think it's a
before.
natural thing. It's some kids go to their mom, some kids go to their dad.
Right.
I don't think it's,
But what I'm saying is it shouldn't be a problem. Like, he shouldn't have to,
it's
suffer
only a
for
problem
some-
to somebody who don't feel the benefit of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The other parent is
Exactly.
always feel like it's a problem.
Exactly. Go ahead.
I go to my mom because she understands me, and when I be trying to explain stuff to my dad, sometimes he doesn't want to see both sides, and when he doesn't want to see both sides, it doesn't help anything. So I call my mom because I know that she will listen to both sides and try to see both sides and see what's going on. She doesn't just listen to me; she doesn't just listen to him. And if I'm in the wrong, she'll tell me that I'm in the wrong. And I still do go back and talk to him. It's just like, at that moment, like, he just doesn't want to admit that he's wrong.
See, in their generation,
I love that, though.
their generation is
Yeah.
they're smart enough to think like that. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
They're not about to shut up about nothing, or you know what I mean. They're gonna say I don't feel like talking. Our generation would never say that.
Never.
Right, right.
But I understand why they do, and I love it.
Exactly. I do too.
Yeah,
And I-
sure.
Go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
And I do I respect that, right? Because he spent a lot of time with mom, but now he's living with me. So the dynamics have changed because I'm in another relationship. So when he reaches out to mom and I have to talk to my significant other, now it becomes an issue because she feels his tension. And then I have to explain to her what's going on. But again, they don't speak. So it causes that frustration in the house. And I understand he's a 15-year-old kid. He has the mindset to think on his own. But there are some things that he has to understand that, hey, as a man, I've been where you are. I'm not stepping in your shoes, but I've been where you are.
But watch this. Listen, we see oftentimes as parents, we miss what they're saying.
Yeah.
What he said was, my mom is able to see both sides. My dad is not. So that has nothing to do with you having another relationship. So what I'm hearing him say is, my dad is just not able to see both sides, which causes me to have to talk to my mom because I feel unheard. So now the natural response is we want to not have the tension in the house. Let me hear it. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, let me just hear what he's saying so he at least know that I hear it. Because that's what
she understands me.
that. Yeah, well, yes, absolutely.
And that's not easy to do, but she's the person who understands them. So that's
Right. But no, yeah, absolute understand. But how do we understand if we're not willing to listen? And we're just looking from our standpoint as a parent. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to keep the peace with our new, you know what I'm saying, relationship. Because it's, you know, it can be some tension there or whatever. But I'm like, wait, hold on. If we listen to the child, because what you'll do is create this child that's angry. Then the child really ain't gonna like what you're trying to have going on in the other relationship.
That's great. But I'm saying there's certain things as a man talking to his son that I may see that the mother may not ever understand. And he may never agree with what I'm trying to show him. And so that's the element of where's the balance at. You know, if I'm going to go to mom for the understanding, there may be some things as a dad, as being a black man or whatever out here in the street that I'm trying to get him to sense, to see it before it comes. Now, he may not be able to take it and explain it because it may not been on a platform of juice and milk and ice cream. Sometimes conversations come in reality. This is it. I can't sugarcoat this.
But wait, you're going to miss it, though. If you're
What I miss?
You will miss that type of conversation and that type of lesson if he feels like you're not hearing it. You see
I
what
can
I'm saying? I'm
understand
talking
that.
about on a day-to-day basis.
I can understand
If
that.
you feel like you're not listening,
Okay.
then it's like when it's time to have those real conversations, he ain't really hearing because all he gonna hear is nagging. And a lot
But
of
does
times,
he hear the father? Does the mother hear the father?
So I will say the only time that the disagreement comes into place where mom is called if we are not on the same page. If we are not on the same, if we're on the same page, if we're at home and we're talking, he's coming from school, we are doing, I can hear him, he can hear me. But when the disruption comes and he feels like I'm not listening, that's where mom is caught. So then I have to listen to him and I have to listen to mom. Now, some things I don't agree with mom on because we're different. But like he said, he can talk to mom can calm him down, which she can. I'm not taking that from her. But it's only when the disruption is like, nah, Dad, you wrong. You wrong.
Can I
So
add something real quick? I think in that moment is where you gotta like be vulnerable. I think a lot of times we're looking at it from just the parental standpoint of I'm your father, and I'm trying to tell you this, and then like she was saying earlier, the real moments gets lost. Sometimes as a man and as a father, you might need to quiet what you want to say. You might need to quiet yourself and what you're trying to get out of the conversation and just be there for him in that moment. And then after that, after you are there for him in that moment so he doesn't have to get his mom, and you're able to get him in a different space mentally, then you all can have a totally different conversation. Because that's why he's going to mom. Because in that moment, you're doing self. I'm trying to tell you this, and I'm trying to show you this. So as a parent or as a man, in that moment, you might want to, now I'm making this about me. And because that's my son. At the end of the day, that's my son. I'm going to die for him, whatever. So me surrendering to whatever it is I'm trying to accomplish right there and then, and just being there for him to where I can get him in a good space mentally, then we can have a different conversation.
Got one conversation for you in that. And I agree with all of y'all. Yeah, I agree with everything that you have said. But what happens when the son doesn't receive what the father is saying?
It's not your son's job to be the parent. You're the parent.
Right. So what happens when he doesn't receive? What happens when he doesn't accept the way it was put?
I think
It could be true.
I think it's still your job as a parent to parent. That's not his responsibility. He's 15. It's not his job to figure out, well, I didn't get it when my dad said this, so what do I do now? No, that's your job.
Right.
That's your son.
That's my
Now,
son.
later on in life, he might get,
Oh, I get that.
now I see where my dad was coming
But
from.
now you get
But
to,
in this moment, he's your
but
son.
now you get to too
Now,
late.
now watch this.
Yeah.
Because we have an older son
Mm-hmm.
who has said that. So for me, when we have older kids, I'm like, we gotta learn what should I have done differently. So our older son said, Dad, if you would have said this stuff, it was the way you were saying stuff that helped me, that made me not get it. I get you now, but it's just the way. So for me, I'm like, baby, you gonna keep doing it the same way, expecting different results? Nobody is saying what you're saying is not correct, but the way your delivery, you know what I'm saying, can be off. Somebody said authoritarian versus authoritative. Absolutely. And so again, we all want to say, go back to, am I being effective with my children, in my relationships, on my job? Am I being effective? It's not about being right. Because I see a lot of people who have been divorced because somebody wanted to be right. You see what I'm saying? And so again, it's about being effective. And this is why I'm here. Because if Sam would have just been able to tell that story, all the men is like, yeah, wait, hold on. You know what I'm saying? But when you really peel it off, it's like, wait, hold on, no, it's not like that. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's like, okay, yeah, the men is going to talk, but again, I promise y'all, I'm coming more. I'm not coming from a woman's perspective, none of that. I promise you I'm coming from a behavioral health. I study behavior. I don't care if you're a man, woman, whatever. Certain behaviors that you do is going to speak certain things. And so I just need y'all, but y'all, I loved it. I loved it today. But thank you everyone for watching. We about to go. It is after 11. We've been on here for 90 minutes. All right. Good job. Good job.
You went to sleep.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. What did you say? We got to get him home.
Yeah, I got to get him to the house. You get Sam at 9:30.